Welcome anyway. Thank you for agreeing to do this. Did you just want to give people a brief idea of who exactly you are and what you've done?
I'm Jairus, and I was the first D1NZ champion. And I guess I've been chasing the sport for 25 years. And right now I'm at the core of the start in Japan. And yeah, I'm loving it here. And yeah, it's good to be here.
um, it's obviously changed like so much from when you would have first started. Um, the first time I ever remember seeing you was on High Octane
Okay.
uh, back in oh, what was that 2000 and I don't know 4 or something. Um, and like seeing all that footage is one of the things that got me into drifting and that Japanese cars and all that back then. So
Awesome.
yeah, you are like a bit of one of the influences that started this all for me as well. So
Yeah,
um,
thanks. Thanks. It's good to hear. It's flattered.
yeah, I remember watching that at oh, I would have just finished school. And yeah, just being like this is cool. I think I wouldn't have a clue which round. I remember it was in Topor.
Okay.
Um, and just seeing you guys all drifting. And then as soon as I got home, I was like, I need one of those cars. And I
Wow.
bought a few weeks later, went out and bought an S13, which I still own now.
Crazy. Crazy. That is awesome. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
wish I could have kept all my, you know, all the memorable cars, but they seem to come and go for me. Yeah,
yeah. Well, you don't know they're going to be, memorable at the time, I guess. Like those cars back then were just, they were cheap hacks, really.
yeah.
But yeah, back then, what got you into drifting initially? How did you find the sport? Because it's totally different to, you can't just click on something on the internet like you can these days.
Probably maybe 3 or 4 years before D1NZ was formed. I used to knock around with Justin Rood and Reese McBreen and everyone who later formed Drift Corp. And we were into just Japanese cars. I had Hondas, I had show Hondas and that sort of stuff. I guess from about 15 or 16, I had a bit of a passion. I was a bit of a riffraff kid at school, so my dad helped get me, the start of an apprenticeship in Kawakawa. He owned a service station and owned the land and building, so he spoke with the mechanic out the back and got me into some part-time work, which led into full-time work. And I was just always, I don't know, just always into it. Um, And I guess when I met Justin Rood, that's when things changed quite a bit. He was kind of the most known guy, majority of Northland at the time. I remember seeing him in a CRX in Queen Street with some, is it a brick phone or maybe a flip phone or something? He would have been the only guy I knew at the time that had a mobile phone, a cell phone. And my girlfriend at the time was one of his best friends before I had met him. So she basically introduced me, and she was one of the girls in her group was his partner at the time. And yeah, we just started hanging out a lot. And he was always trying to get a workshop and stuff. We got into he had a GTIR Pulsar, um, and all of us had Hondas. We were really into the Hondas, whether it was the car show scene or going down to the drags. Again, that's kind of how I got introduced to Mere Mere and the drag strip and all that sort of stuff. And one of the other boys, Reese McBreen, he, think, I can't remember at the time, we're on dial-up internet. I don't even think we could afford the internet, but Justin had the internet and would download these short clips. They're like 5 minute, 5 second clips, and
Yeah.
just real, very early basic stuff. It would have been late '90s or early 2000s, probably late '90s when we had seen them. The first tracks that I remember seeing are actually the courses at Ibisu. I mean, one of them I was driving today on Toge course. I just remember seeing 5 second clips of them coming around the first corners and stuff, and we were all just like hooked, yeah, head over heels hooked. And Justin bought a FCRX7, which he would be street drifting. I found one in Whangarei, and yeah, we both had white FCRX7s, so we'd be, you know, hacking around Northland, trying to do some skids and stuff. Um, he bought, he ended up selling that and getting a R32 Skyline, quite a nice one, really nice one. And it was, I remember driving that one night. He'd had a few drinks, and he basically showed me how to line lock a road. So we're outside someone's house, and he just told me what to do. And all of a sudden, we're going lock to lock all the way down the street. That was probably my first time that I'd kind of experienced something like that. And within a month or so, I had a R32 Skyline. Uh, and then he had been building a Safiro for quite a while, probably over a year at the time. Early on, he had all the really good parts for it. He had a RB25 box, and yeah, a lot of the bits that um, you know, the good stuff even today.
Do you
Um,
remember vaguely what the R32 cost? Was it because at one point they were quite cheap, but
4 grand, 4 grand.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think the FC cost me 4.7, and I swapped the FC for this R32. Yeah, it was at the pit stop across from St. Luke's. It's on the diagonal right next to the mobile station in St. Luke's. My girlfriend was
yeah.
at work, and she come home. I went to pick her up that night, and I said, "Oh, babe, I've got a new car," and she just flipped out at me. She said, "Have you?" Who even owns it? Is it stolen or recovered? Like, what's the deal? Anyway, it worked out. I bought the Zafiro again. Um, Me and my girlfriend at the time had separated, and I remember asking her maybe 6 months up. We were still good friends. We're still good friends now, but I asked her. She had a GT Starlet, and I asked her, "Oh, can I swap your Starlet, please? And when I sell my R32, I'll give you the money." And so she let me swap her GT Starlet for a manual RB20 Turbo Zafiro, which was super rare at the time. Yeah, and that was really the start of getting into competition stuff. Yeah, um, yeah, it was a lot of good memories. We had some shockers as well. I remember going backwards down the West Auckland motorway, maybe 140k backwards because
Jesus.
the FC had some shitty Torsen diff, and when you
Oh yeah.
accelerated, it just spin on you. But we were like third and fourth gear, all trying to street race, and yeah, all of a sudden we were flying backwards down the motorway. Wasn't a good night. Um,
No, no.
I remember specifically saying to her that night, "That's it. I'm done with drifting. I'm just going to give up." And that was, I guess, before my so-called career sort of kicked off. Yeah. Um, and from there, so this is before D1NZ was formed. We started organising track days. Um, the first ones were at the current pit. Well, it's all pulled down now, but the current pit's at the Pukekohe Raceway.
Oh yeah.
It used to be all open. They weren't all closed in. So it used to be a big open area, and I think it was like 2 or 3 grand. We hired that out for the day and organised enough people to cover the day. Some people like Matt Gill, who's still a buddy now from Garage Story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's friends with like Nick T-Boone and all those guys, all Corolla guys. Yeah, maybe Paint, Matt Farron. I can't really remember these guys' names at the moment, but still really close with Justin. He moved to Auckland for a while, and that was right on the cusp of everything ramping up a lot harder. You know, we'd even formed Drift Corp, I think, at the time. Um, there was a track day. All we had seen before that was drifting, as still shots in Performance Car magazine in the country, and we knew there were groups like Nizan, who at the time were there were a bunch of Asian guys. Let's just say Asian guys. The majority of them were not Japanese, but they all had a lot of money.
Yeah.
They were all studying students, and they all had the best,
Oh,
Japanese cars that we knew of at the time. And um, we had seen on these still shots, and we ended up at an open day at Puki, and it was maybe an hour or two into the day that we realized that we'd leapfrogged them and become better than them, and it was quite
yeah.
shocking for all of us. Yeah, they were good in the photo, but actually doing the thing, they were not that good. But we'd been practicing so much that we got really good. Yeah, whether it was Fang and Dan or Justin or me or Reese McBreen or well, yeah, there's quite a big group of us in Northland that were pretty passionate, pretty into
Yeah.
it. Justin with there was he was spending a lot of time with Thomas Chen, who he had an S15 at the time. He was super passionate about drifting, and then yeah, we sort of all pulled together. We would go to Thomas's workshop at night, and they proposed it. They said, "Look, we want to form this thing called D1NZ, and basically D1GP, but a New Zealand version of it." Um, yeah, which came to fruition, and well, that was the start of it. Yeah, I don't honestly remember too many of the events individually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
there was just there was a lot going on. We were all crazy young, and we partied a lot. We partied heaps. So
Yeah.
the tradition at the time was, get as drunk as you can the night before. The hangover will help shake off the nerves the next day, and then it would just kind of be what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we realized pretty early on, like, shit, we're the biggest team in the country. We need to pull together and paint the cars and do everything. Um, I was working at a shop called K-Style Car Shop in Nelson Street in Auckland. Nelson Street, anyway, and they ended up supplying me a Sylvia. So
Oh, true.
yeah, that was the so-called, you know, professional first professional driver in the country.
Yeah.
I did get my in the Safira. I got the first championship. Yeah, I do remember the first few events. Like Topor was like quite a special one. Um, I ended up winning that event. My car was super underpowered. I think it had cut springs. Like it was real super basic. Yeah, RB20. Um, yeah, side mount intercooler and stuff. And
Yeah, because I noticed in the on the I'd rewatched the old High Octanes
yeah,
the other night, and like no cages, dudes in t-shirts,
yeah.
helmet. The helmet was about it, and they just were pretty much looked like street cars. So I was wondering, like, how deep did you go on the suspension? Obviously, were you guys even like cutting knuckles or anything? Was it?
I basically pretty much the first car I had that had knuckles was my FDR-X7. That was in 2008. That was quite late on. So for
Yeah,
Sylvia's, of like for me for my own cars, the earliest knuckle was still in the last 5 years in for my Sylvia in Japan. Yeah, before then I'd never driven like a Sylvia or a Nissan with knuckles. Yeah, I have
not
driven.
even cut and welded.
Not at all. No, that's still what we do now. Just cut and shut.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think we had what are they, the 5 mil washers or something that gave us a bit more
Yeah,
ample.
yeah, yeah. And the steering rack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, it- Strangely enough, it's actually very similar to how I live here. and how we run the cars here. As long as you have a helmet on, that's pretty much it. We do have to have a roll cage, but again, that's really just for safety for us. Um, Outside of that, I mean, we can wear jandals and flipping shorts and singlet. We can do what we want. Yeah. Any other safety rigs here is basically on our own, where we fit a couple of fire extinguishers and stuff to the car, but otherwise it's super basic. Yeah.
I
Um,
should probably mention that you're currently in Japan.
all right. Yes.
No, that's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it was just a blur. The
Yeah.
first 5 or 7 years or whatever, for me, it was quite a blur. Um, After the first championship, I started speaking to people in magazines from Australia, and there was a group of people from Japanese motorsport, Danny Vahumis, Denzo, who again I'm still friends with now, Christian Pickering, and a whole heap of others from Adelaide that I met. I don't even know how I met them. I flew to an event in Melbourne and started linking up with a lot of people. I borrowed, I don't even know how I got the money. I took 15,000 New Zealand over and bought a RB26 Safiro from another guy over there, and started doing competition over there. I think that was maybe within 2 years of D1NZ being formed. I always had this real focus on my current situation is never enough. So I'm always looking like this, which I still probably am a little bit like now, where my current situation, I'm not really too concerned or focused on that. But at the time, I just wanted to go right to the top. So meaning, Australia was the next step. And from there, I met, I think we went to America, Justin and I, and Adam Richards, and another friend, Mark Phillips, in 2005. And that's when we went to Formula Drift. I met everyone. Vaughan Gittin Jr., Chris Forsberg, Tony Angelo, like everyone, Dio Shihara, Reese Millen, and Sam Hubernet, every single person. And they all became
Yeah.
personal friends. I think within a couple of years, I did a D1 GP All Stars event in Irwindale, and borrowed Vaughan Gittin Jr.'s S13, the one that he's doing a rebuild on at the moment,
Yeah.
like his first car. Um, yeah, like I said, it was all quite a blur. There's just so much going on. I came to Japan in 2006 for my first trip, 19 years ago, and we were filming for a DVD called 100% Driven. Yeah, I got approached from a guy that owns a mag warehouse, I think, in Manukau City. Yeah, I can't remember his name at the moment. Awesome guy, and they basically proposed. They said, "We want you to help present this trip to Japan, and we want you to be the guy on the ground there that can actually drive these cars." So we went to Jun Auto Mechanic. We went to the workshop and the manufacturing factory where you got to see like pellets of conrods and pistons and everything getting machined up, camshafts, heaps of cool stuff. The fab shops,
Yeah.
all the high end stuff. Um, and then I cannot even remember how, but I just remember we ended up at a BC circuit, and that was, I think I knew about some of it, but it was really when I got there where, I don't know, I was just hooked. Yeah, that was a surreal, strange moment. It was really cool to watch everything. For me, I call myself a purist, meaning I I have traveled, probably half the globe seeing drifting, but I still desire the most authentic version, which was always Japan. The BC circuit would always be, something pretty high for me. And yeah, I was always focusing on that. I did, sorry.
Why do you, other than it originating in Japan, what about Ibisu makes it seem more authentic to you? Like, what about
It's all
the
the
style
history,
there?
the history.
Yeah,
It's the history. It's watching all my idols crash out and end up on stretchers and all these things that we don't actually that doesn't actually exist in most modern drifting. It's actually quite safe and stuff, but these guys just put everything on the line. I've seen everyone Daigo crash out several times. I've seen Naoki crash out. I've seen all these guys, and they're my absolute idol. I am not so focused on maybe Europe or America or yeah, even New Zealand, Australia. I'm quite out of touch, but the Japanese stuff I know pretty well. I've either met majority of these people in my travels or worked with them. Kumakubo, we get to see him a lot. I've spent a lot of time lately with Naoto Sunaga, who was one of the original D1GP drivers. And yeah, it's cool to have these people as personal friends now that you can kind of lean on and ask them about the history and about, yeah, all the stuff that to me is pretty interesting. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
quite
for sure.
obscure. Um, yeah, so I ended up moving to America in 2008 and had met with Formula Drift. I met with Ryan Sage and the other guy, and um, spoken with them about running some sort of program. I had no money and I was highly disorganized. So I'd sent my FDR X7 over there. The car was great. The car would be somewhat competitive, but I was heavily underfunded and really disorganized. So it was a thing. Within a week or two, all of my friends around me, like I say, Vaughan and Chris and Tony Angelo, all these guys did everything they could to help me. Within a week or two, Reese Millen, I think he messaged me or called me and said, "Do you need work? Come and work for me." And that was great. Yeah, he would be pretty high up for me as a mentor in my earlier days. Yeah, he taught me a lot of the Kiwi style and like super DIY attitude and how to basically transform that attitude, that mindset into a career. Yeah, I mean he had good leg ups with his dad Rod, um,
Yeah,
but he was very smart, super focused. Yeah, if he wasn't in that workshop, he would have been on a film set doing precision driving. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, meaning like for weeks on end, he might be at home 4 hours a night, and then he'd get up 2 a.m. He'd be on set at 4, and then he'd get home at 10 p.m. the next, and just real hard worker, super hard worker, super focused. I guess that part of my life, I got to do a lot more, learning on like world class projects. We built like SEMA cars, and yeah, I've been to SEMA with them. We pre-ran Pikes Peak and then the main event, along with like full FD seasons. So I got to see some really advanced stuff in America.
so what kind of work were you doing for them? Are you fabrication or mechanicking? What?
I'm
A
a
bit of
fabricator
everything.
now. I'm a fabricator mechanic now. There, I don't even know. I think it's just some sort of lackey that would just do whatever odd job. Yeah, it was a very crazy situation, and I look back on it now and think like, what the hell? Yeah, yeah. I just appreciate them for employing me and helping me out. Um, we would do projects like he they. I didn't go to any of the East Coast events, Formula Drift events, because I couldn't afford it. Reese had spoken with me and offered me some advice, which was pick 3 events and focus on those 3 events. Don't cut yourself short trying to make the whole championship. If you can prove yourself in those 3 events or even one of those events, if you can stand out, then you got a lot higher chance of getting support to carry on. So he would be in the East Coast doing events, and this one time he calls or messages and says, I think it was 2008, and he rings me up and says, "Right, go to Mitsubishi, pick up a 2010 Evo 10, take it back to the shop and strip it as much as you can, detar it, like cut everything out of it, take everything, just strip it right down to a bare shell." He said, "We've got a customer that wants to run Pikes Peak in an Evo 10." So it was 2008, it barely even hit the ground, to the point that the coilovers, uh, we had Evo 9 Tane suspension, but had to modify the whole lot to fit an Evo 10. The engine was flipped around the opposite way, so there's a lot of dramas with the car. Um, so within a week of them getting back, they unspot welded the roof, cut out the parcel tray, hacked the thing apart, and got into some pretty awesome fabrication. I went to Sabon, picked up a hood, a trunk, and all four carbon doors straight away. And this is like, yeah, 2008. Like for me, it was like mind numbing stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah. Even now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Even now, that would be crazy.
yeah. And so yeah, the builds that we did and the things that we did within RMR Racing and Racing was amazing. Yeah, it was. It just I learned the most working under Reese. Um, yeah, how to succeed in that market. Yeah, he would basically fund the workshop, which would be maybe 4 or 5 star. He would fund that based on his stunt driving work, but he had that very locked in. Like he had a lot of money coming in, but his passion was always motorsport. So um, he would use that money to make sure that every year the workshop is covered for pay, so that everyone is employed, and then he'd just give them things to do. The projects were pretty outrageous, like very outrageous. He was I'm not sure if you're aware of this. He was the stunt coordinator for Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah.
And they built all the Evos. The first Evo for that film was Tanner Faust, his personal street car. I think it was a 9, which I'd ridden in. And yeah, they would just build everything. They were so used to doing it for film, for commercials, where they'd get two, three, four, five of the same car, and then yeah, build them for whatever needs to be done. So yeah, I got to see some pretty good things there. Um,
And then you were trying to um, run your FD over there as well?
yes, yeah, it was a total fail. It was a total fail. I basically used it as a like a working holiday. You know, it was more just to hang out in America and I don't know, pretend to live the dream or something. It's too young, not focused enough. I didn't really have anyone around me to help me, and yeah, it was. I guess after that, I burned out after that year where I returned to New Zealand, and I just felt like I'd failed. You know, yeah, and that one threw me for a while. I guess that was the start of the decline of my involvement in the drifting. Yeah. Um, and I guess from there, that's when life kind of took over for a few years. Um, at the end of 2015, um, I moved back to New Zealand. I was married at the time in Australia, and was just not comfortable in the situation. So I exited the situation, and within a few weeks, because I was really close with Mike, Mike Woodett and Tony Cook at the time. I was really close with them, and he calls me and says, "Oh shit, are you interested to go on a world tour with me to just take your mind off things? It's going to be a year." So yeah, so I ended up jumping in with them, and that was a good refresher to what's going on. It caught me up with everything. I got to catch up with a lot of friends around the globe, and yeah, just kind of restore my enjoyment for the sport and everything. Um, yeah, that was a big one. We did the whole. This is in 2016. He did the whole FD Japan Championship with Humble. He did the whole US Championship with the MX5, and we did activations in England, South Africa. I can't remember if it's Canada or not. And I think towards the end of the season, we did World Time Attack. So we did Goodwood Festival of Speed. Yeah, it was just flat out.
That's a hell of a year.
It was a hell of a year.
Yeah.
It was a crazy year. I was too focused on what had happened in the past, with my breakup and separation and stuff. And um, yeah, it was the best year. It was an amazing year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Isaac was on here a month or two ago, and he's telling me about the stuff that
yeah.
they do, and it just sounds like you don't stop
You
when
don't
you're
stop. It just keeps going.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I can. It's the exact same system. Yeah, I can see what they get up to now is exactly what we were getting up to, and they're extremely hard workers. Super focused on everything and just knocking out events and getting some money and just keep going, keep going.
So when did you start going to Japan? After you said you'd visited in like 2007
2006.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
2006.
so my first trip was 2006, and the next time would have been with Mike during that year. Yeah, we he had spoken with Andrew Gray from my boss from Power Vehicles, good friend, Andy and Emily, and I had met Andy and Emily in 2006 in Tokyo. So Kazama Auto, which is a very famous company here, um, right next door to their shop was Power Vehicles in Saitama, and I had met them there. There was a buddy of mine, Josh. I'm not going to say his last name in case I get it wrong, but Josh from Australia. He was working for a lady here called Shinokuba, and he says, "Oh, there's a Scottish couple, and they live here, and they can help us find street drifting tonight." So we go and meet up, and that was the first time I'd met Andy and Emily, and amazing people, just super friendly, super keen. Um, it was 19 years ago. Um, I think within a year, I was walking down the main street of Pai here in New Zealand. I was just finishing the build of my FDRX7, and I turn around and Andy and Emily are standing there like, "What the hell? What the what the hell are you guys doing here?" And in the winter here it gets real bad. Like I'm talking a meter of snow, so there's not a lot going on. As the staff, mechanics and stuff, we push through and just smash through and get the long-term projects in the workshop and ship through them over winter. But for Andy and Emily, they would just close the shop for 2 or 3 months, and they would go to either Australia or New Zealand. And yeah, and they fell in love with New Zealand. They had a lot of friends. They still have a lot of friends in Australia as well, Queensland, but all over they know a lot of people in a lot of different countries. Um, my parents had, my dad was a real entertainer, and I said to Andy and Emily, I didn't even think about it, but I just offered my parents' house to them and told them I've got to go back to Auckland to work, but if you guys want to stay here, just stay. So they ended up staying, I don't know, maybe nearly 2 weeks. And the next time I come up, I'm like, what the hell, man? They're still here. It's pretty cool. And then I would keep bumping into them while I was living in Australia. I would bump into them in strange places. I think maybe like Orlando or something. I bumped into them, and so it's kind of a bit of a reoccurring thing. And so we're halfway through the trip with Mike in 2016, and he says, "Oh, Jay, we're gonna stay at the pension at the lodge at the Drifters Lodge where Andy and Emily live, which is where I am right now." So yeah, we came and stayed there here and did the events. I didn't see them again until 18 when I flew over to buy a car, which is the Sylvia that I have right now.
I
Um,
was going to ask you when you first got a car. Yeah.
yeah, so I had driven cars in Japan, but yeah, 2018 was a bit of a game changer for me. Um, Seeing how much their business had evolved was like quite a thing. You know, there's all these pro cars just sitting out the front and 10 staff, well, maybe even more. You look
I
like a
think
professional.
when did we go there? I think I went there I'm going to get this wrong, 2018 or 2019.
Okay,
We went over a group of friends here and
yeah,
saw everything that's over there, which is
yeah,
pretty crazy at Ibisu.
yeah. It's even more crazy now. Yeah. Um, and so in 2018, I bought the car. Um, every time I'd be in New Zealand, I would basically put this on hold, which to me is my life. You know, every time I would kind of gravitate to maybe the wrong people. I just didn't have the passion. You know, I just really didn't have the passion. When I would watch, when I watch drifting in New Zealand, it just doesn't hit like I I need. Yeah. Whereas here, I feel like America and stuff that got me going for quite a while. But then realizing that I was priced out of that, it's not an option.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
That in coming to Japan and realizing that, you know, there's so many of these beaten down cars that are actually piloted by GP drivers, really high skilled drivers, but they don't really want to be known. They're not, they're very modest people. And I think
Yeah,
all these traits sort of hit home for me. Like I say, I would be in New Zealand and I just kind of lose motivation. Yeah, I would always wonder, like, why am I building this car? What, you know, my era is gone. My era is
yeah, yeah.
well gone. So what is it that's making me want to do this here? And I could never really answer it. You look
The
like
thing that I always find interesting, yeah, well, the thing I find interesting about, because I can't even remember what year I would have started. I think I've got like some 2011 or something Matsuri stickers. I can't even remember what's on my car. But back then, you know, they were real simple cars, whereas now, even for like a grassroots car, they are the most insane things.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you know, even to start out with, people have this attitude over here. It seems that you need power, 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 and all the fancy gear and build this crazy thing. Whereas over there, it is factory, and they'll just maybe put some suspension in it and give it a whirl.
yeah,
Whereas I don't think anyone, I don't know if there's anyone in New Zealand that would be rocking something like that sort of deal.
yeah, yeah. Um,
And the amount of
it
driving you could do instead of building an 800 horsepower grassroots car is yeah.
is crazy. Yeah, we at Ibisu circuit. This is for not just for Ibisu, it's for the whole country, for Japan. But there's over 100 drift purpose built courses in the country. You know,
True.
probably about 30 or 40 circuits, and each circuit has several courses. So in New Zealand, primarily we drift on racetracks, so they're not actually designed whatsoever for drifting. Whereas here, the skill level to me is extremely high because you're fighting things like real high elevation, high speed into like a stop, into yeah, there's toge. Toge maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, we saw a rollover that kind of gave me a bit of a check. Um, yeah, yeah. we drift on drift courses here, and we can't so much say that in New Zealand outside of the new one. Um, we in New Zealand, around the world, we're just trying to make do with what we have. But I guess it's like finding that perfect girl or perfect drug is once you tasted it, man, you can't really go back.
Yeah.
You feel like
I
you.
didn't realize there was so many tracks.
Oh, just in this area, yeah, we've got Link Circuit, Sugo, and there's probably two in between. Maze, Nico Circuit, Scudamore Circuit, Gunma, like tons, man, tons. Yeah,
And
enough.
they all run the same sort of setup because Ibisu you can essentially turn up, on a Monday and just drift all day. Do
No,
they all run that same sort of setup?
I
You
think
just
so.
turn up there and you can. Uh,
Yeah, within reason. I mean, every circuit here has a calendar. Just go on their site and check
no,
the calendar, and yeah, if you need to translate it, it's pretty straightforward. But um, majority of them, yeah, yeah. I mean, today was a perfect example. We found out that niche course was open today, which was cool. So we went to drive it, and it was just me and one of the other staff from PV. That's it. Went to North Course. There was a pro driver from a few hours away, just doing some training. Yeah, Side X guys were there doing school stuff, but it was very, very quiet, to be honest. Yeah, um, it's perfect, perfect for me, perfect for training. Yeah, the events are just so in and out, meaning that there could be a Formula Drift event or a D1GP event, but that's only on that course and within the circuit. There's like motorcycle racing on Higashi. There's drift training down at school course or Kurikuru or whatever. There's a lot going on. Um, that I can't really explain why. I just have always been fascinated about this place. I think I like the obscurity of it all, where there's drift cars everywhere and freaking lions and giraffes
yeah, yeah, the beers and stuff. Yeah.
and mangoes and I mean we get to see those things every day. I got to see two cubs in maybe 2020. I got to see two cubs, for the first 6, 8 months of their life, which was pretty epic. Yeah. Um,
So
yeah.
how long have you been mechanicking, mechanic fabrication in Japan for?
I started here in yeah, so 2018 I bought the car and in spring and I plan to come back in fall in November 2018 and it wasn't until um, halfway through 2019 that I realized oh, shit I did it again I dropped the ball again so that time I decided like right I'm fed up with New Zealand um, I keep making the the wrong decisions in New Zealand. I just wasn't focused and everything. And so I decided, right, I'm going to sell everything I have and I'm going to move there and I'm going to get a job. Yeah, my idea was that I was going to speak with Kumakubo, Team Orange, and get work at the circuit. Um, so yeah, I at fall November 2019, sell everything up, leave everything I have there. And do you know Jono? Jono Smith? He's one of the staff at.
So,
Okay, he's from
oh no.
Christchurch. He's an amazing fabricator. He's from Christchurch. He's still here right now, but I'm in the pits. I'm up the top by the top shop by the tire changes and stuff. I'm working away on my car, and yeah, he walks over and says, "Oh, are you JT? Are you JT from New Zealand?" Oh, yep, yep. And he's kind of did a bit of a fanboy thing for a second, and then we started talking. And then he said, "What's your plans? Like, what are you doing in the country?" And I said, "Honestly, I've sold everything I have, and I want to move here and live here." So, um, so he says to me, "Okay, okay, let me know how it goes. If you get stuck with anything, let me know." I ended up staying at the house at the pension where I am right now. with all the boys, with all the staff. There was nearly 10 or 12 staff at the time. So there's a lot going on at the house. And yeah, by the end of the trip, Jono says to me, "You need to talk to Andy. Go and speak with Andy." So I had a brief conversation with Andy. He wanted me to meet with, speak with James. I think it was like nearly a week. Every day I'd walk into Power Vehicles and say to James, "Are you ready?" And every day he'd say to me, "No," this thick Irish accent, "No." So yeah, every day I'd bug him, and then he finally sits me down. He's like kind of shaking his head, and he says to me, "Why do you want to be here?" He's like, "The pay is shit. The work is like extremely hard. The living conditions are rough as. The weather conditions are out. Like, why do you want to be here?" And yeah, I explained my situation and said, "I think that this will be better for me as a person to be maybe outside of the environments that I seem to draw to in, New Zealand or whatever." And yeah, long story short, they said, "All right, we'll give you a trial for a month, and then the rest is history." Within 6 months, okay, so the first 3 months, we're going through that. I started in November 18, sorry, no, November 2019. 2020 comes around and COVID hit. So I'm still in Japan, and James takes me to the um, immigration, and basically, well, he vouched for me to stay in the country. So I ended up staying in Japan for a full year while they were applying for my work visa. Yeah, it was, I can't even explain it. I was one of the few foreigners in the whole country.
Yeah.
So,
Um, Side note, I guess, sort of. What's because me and my partner talk about working in another country at some point, and I've always like I like Japan. From she wants to visit as well.
mhm.
What are the like immigration? Because everywhere it was usually like you had to be under 30 or 35 for working visas, but is it different in Japan?
I was under a humanitarian visa.
Oh,
Basically,
yeah.
the visa that I had and the visa that I am applying for again right now as a specialist in your field.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we'd pulled together 10 years of history in the industry. Yeah, yeah, it is extremely difficult. It's not easy at all, at all. Yeah, it's really expensive, super expensive, and yeah, it's a long process, like a 9 month process, and a lot of back and forth. Because I've done it before, this time it's a lot easier. And Andy has done it for several of the staff now, but at the time he'd only done it for one of the staff members. Everyone else was on 12-month work holiday. Yeah, working holiday. Yeah, which is majority of the staff that do come in right now. I think we've got one, two, three, four that come in on a 12-month work visa, work holiday visa. Um, for the business itself, it super sucks because you can never get, no one can sink their teeth in. In 12 months, you're spending 3 to 4 months finding your feet. You're spending probably 3 or 4 months, getting settled in and actually getting into the work. And then you're just packing your shit up to get ready to go. It's a shit. It's a real hard system. Yeah, huge amount of turnover for the company, and there's a lot of training and retraining and retraining. Yeah, the dynamic at the house, the dynamic within the company is can be challenging.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I've been here so long, I'm pretty comfortable, real comfortable. Um, yeah, but I did struggle as well. Um, yeah, it's been yeah, it's been a bit. Right now, the working situation for the staff is the best it's ever been. In 2020, our minimum was 6 day week. and it's 10 hours a day. And right now we're in mid to high 30s to like low 40s every day, high humidity, and then we go into like a few feet of snow for 4 months, just after 4 months of it. Yeah, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. You gotta really want it. You gotta really want it.
Yeah,
I look at Nihomatsu, the local town, like this is my home. Yeah, I'm just super comfortable here. Yeah, I feel like I've got more consistent routes here than in New Zealand, which is actually kind of scary when I go home because I don't really know what's going on. Even within drifting, it's a pretty difficult thing. I feel like quite a not an outcast, but a foreigner. Yeah,
I was gonna say you definitely would be an outcast.
yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
a fair few people there would still make you feel very welcome.
Oh, it was amazing judging last season for D1NZ 2024. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was just very overwhelming. Um, Japan is like basically stuck in the 90s, and then coming to New Zealand or anytime you leave Japan, it's like, holy shit, the world moves. It's still moving. And, there's this whole new generation with a new style and technique in New Zealand. And whereas here, I can still drive like we're driving in the 90s, like I say, we just wear normal clothes. As long as we have a helmet, then we're pretty safe. But I did some demos and stuff in New Zealand where we're fully suited and booted with a Hans and everything. There's big changes, yeah. But it still feels like a family. It's a pretty cool thing in New Zealand. That was my only consistent thing that I had while I was there. Yeah, it made me feel pretty special. And the 20th anniversary thing, that was very overwhelming. That was very overwhelming. Um, in Japan, I'm just a normal person, and when I tell people that I'm this thing in a different country, they think it's kind of funny. But um, yeah, yeah, they get champions from every country here, so they're just kind of, yeah, don't really take it too seriously.
Yeah, yeah, and then they still drive all the same cars as everyone else does anyway. So
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. So since yeah, the end of 2019 was when I first started working here, and I just have I just fell in love. I did return, so before I completed my visa in 2020, I had to stay for the rest of COVID. So I think it was maybe early 22 that I came back. I was here for less than a year, and I started dating a girl from back home, which was the reason why I did come back to New Zealand for 2024. And again, I was looking at building a car and stuff. I couldn't see, I just couldn't afford it. Not shitting on the system or whatever, but I just couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford the tires. I couldn't afford to run it. I couldn't afford fuel for, it was a mission.
yeah,
I had been priced out of my own sport, whereas here today, with a gold card, entry was $5 for all courses for the day. Um, we get
that's crazy, eh?
we get all the used tires off the piles um, at power vehicles from all the customers. But I'm talking like either Valinos or Kenders or like some good stuff, a lot of good stuff. Good enough that we don't buy tires.
Yeah, yeah.
And gas. Today I had half a tank, so the whole day cost me 5, 6 New Zealand dollars. Like that suits me. Um, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that.
That would be, I guess. Well, I don't know. What was it like when you started? Were you grabbing secondhand tires off the pile
I guess so.
back in New Zealand when you very first
Yeah,
started?
yeah, I would have to say, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because I remember my brother worked at a tire shop back when I first getting into skidding cars, and I would go there every like Friday and grab some tires off the
Yeah,
pile.
man. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. because the power and stuff is not so extreme. You're not blowing the tires off everything so often, and um, yeah, yeah, we really conserve the tires. A good day for us would be maybe going through 2 pairs.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's a
think it
lot
was
of
like that
run.
when I was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that sort of gutted me about New Zealand when I came back, just thinking like I don't have a truck, I don't have a Hilux, I don't have a tow car, I don't have a trailer. There'd be a lot of borrowing stuff, but it was just yeah, it was just too expensive. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel that my Sylvia has been parked up for about 8 years or something now. It's parked
yeah,
in the shed, not doing much of a muchness because yeah, everything's when you break stuff. Even now, it's pretty expensive.
yeah, yeah. Um, Power vehicles have helped me out hugely. We have enough used stock that I can always keep the car going. Like we have a shitload of stock. Yeah, whether it's axles or diffs or gearboxes or even engine parts or everything. Um, the tuner that we use is the original guy from Team Orange, so he's been tuning these cars for 25 years and knows his stuff.
So I was going to ask that. What is the dyno situation like over there? Does anyone really use the dyno, or is it sort of track tunes?
There's so much elevation. It's not really a concern in New Zealand because everything is not, pretty close to sea level. So, um, yeah, it's all just track tuned. It's all tuned on Higashi for us anyway. But that's kind of irrelevant because Oki will dial into everyone's car at any event and see what's going on. Yeah. Basically, I guess the dyno would be only to tell a horsepower a specific figure. Um, and because he's tuned literally thousands of them, he just tells you it's a 300 horse car, or it's a 500 horse car, or it's a 1,000 horse. Yeah.
Just use the butt dyno.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The butt dyno. Um, yeah, elevation is a real thing here. Half of these courses are definitely way up mountains. Yeah, way, way away from sea level. Um, I think that I mean Andy even in the last couple of months has been talking about getting a dyno, which we could absolutely do with. Yeah, over winter we got four at least 4 months of snow. So from December till January, February, March, till April, I was waiting to get the car tuned, which was crap. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't until just a couple of months ago that we actually got it tuned because of the snow. So a dyno would be a huge help, but it just doesn't seem to be a focus.
Nah, nah. That's what I'd from the people that I'd talked to over there. No one's
Yeah,
seems to have
but
ever worried about putting it on dyno.
basically the whole thing is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Power FC ECUs. You see, all this stuff is archaic in New Zealand, but here, um, all they care about is something that works. It doesn't have to be the latest version of that. They're just as
Yeah.
long as it works. So, majority
I
of the
think the
stuff.
whole Japanese culture is little bit like that. We have a Japanese boy, Japanese exchange student at the moment, and so yeah, to him about different stuff. But yeah, I think their whole culture is a lot less. I don't know what you call it, progressive or like always needing
They're just
the
not.
new cool thing.
They're just not interested. I think in the 90s and stuff that they were so advanced that they kind of got to a point that
Mm.
yeah, we've done it all. We can keep creating stuff for the globe, but they think they kind of got a bit over it. When the financial boom had collapsed, yeah, they just all kind of gave up and not so interested. The majority of the cars, I mean, put it this way, to me, Link ECU would be one of the biggest aftermarket ECUs here. It would be in like 10% of the performance cars only. Yeah. Like a lot of shops will still use the Power FC or the HKS FCon or whatever. Sometimes they'll stack them up, where you got two FCons. I don't even know why running in some strange configuration. But all of our stuff, we get a lot of GTRs coming through the shop and chasers and whatever Supras. They'll always go, yeah, a new link. And normally we pull off the old turbos and put a new Garrett or something on them just to wake them
Yeah.
up. Yeah, some of them are just so crazy laggy. You shift between gears and it falls off boost. Yeah.
So is it not just drift cars you work on there?
Andy, yeah, we work on a bit of everything. Andy
Aye.
has his own toys. Yeah, he's got a
Aye.
few pretty cool toys.
Yeah.
He did a Jono fitted a twin turbo kit to a Lamborghini that he bought a while ago, which that was a showpiece at Auto Salon. He took it to Daigo's last weekend for a barbecue event, which was like a hard park event. And then there's another one, Fuel Fest, coming up that he'll be taking that to. Andy has a whole heap, yeah, time attack cars. He's just bought
Aye. So you work on a bit of everything.
he's just bought a R35 GT3. He has like a Kansai HKS 1000 horse R35 that he uses for Sugo and stuff. Yeah, RWB like Porsches. Um, yeah, we've got probably 3 or 4 Supras being built at the moment. The older one, what are they called? A JC,
JZA 80? Are
yeah,
they 80?
yeah, the A80s. Yeah. So yeah, the most common engine in the shop probably 2J, and yeah, 1J SR, and then the RBs will be right at the bottom. Always have issues with the RBs. Yeah, and the Japanese are like in awe of Australasians for what they can do with an RB. Yeah,
Yeah, when we went over there, me and my friend got an R32 with an RB20 in it, and we spent a week
yeah,
working on
yeah.
different things on that car.
Different parts
Yeah,
of
it
it.
was a bit of a mission.
Yeah, it's strange. You can get a lemon or you can get a real good one, and I don't really get it. But the RBs are not very popular here. Yeah, the old grumpy thing.
So, are you mainly mechanicking there? You do a bit of fabrication and everything as well.
Yep. Yeah, I can do fabrication. Um, yeah, putting right. So this year, the first 2 projects for me was 180SX that had been sitting for probably 7 or 8 years out the front. That was RB, and so we did a full SR conversion on that car. That one's all up and running. I think that one's sold, and I've just in the last week they've just got it started a RB25 A31 Safira. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of parts coming in. Yeah, it's really cool because it's all those sort of early days. The parts that we do have to use. Um, and because these are sales vehicles, just whatever we need, get whatever we need. Yeah, we have. I'm sure you've seen the piles of suspension and arms and all that sort of stuff. Seats, wheels, aero. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we just go through the piles. If we need new parts, we order whatever we need, and the and some of them still have chipped ECUs.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think the 180SX got a Power FC, and the Safira is just a chipped ECU. I think we're going to get Power FC for that. Yeah, they're like $800 or something. If they're a bit more specced out, then Andy would get Link. We'd use a Link. Um, yeah. So and again, so my job, some of the staff will be consistently preparing the sales cars, meaning clean the shit out of the whole car. Any parts that are defected or whatever, we'll replace whatever. Some majority, maybe half the time, we'll put a Link ECU in them, put a Garrett turbo on them, and then we'll get them to a point. It normally takes probably a couple of months to get them to that point. Andy will take them to school course, test it and then come back and give us a new list. And then once it's all done, he'll photograph it, and then it just goes back into storage until it's sold. So
Oh,
those guys do that, and my job would be basically getting the ones that are sat there nearly 10 years and rebirth them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Putting that
everything.
mechanic apprenticeship to work.
Sorry,
Putting that mechanic apprenticeship to work.
well, I never finished it, so jack of all trades over here. Yeah, I really enjoy it. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, my whole life, I've probably never been as settled as I am here. Yeah, culture's amazing. It's very, very rare. I don't think I've ever had a run-in with a Japanese person ever. Like they're amazing
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I'll touch on it just for a second, but I'm from the Bay of Islands, and it really gutted me to see just how much drugs have like overrun things, in Northland, and I don't get to see any of that here. So I'm more comfortable being here away from, yeah, any of that sort of stuff. And everyone's amazing here, hugely welcoming. I can barely speak Japanese.
I was going to ask you what's your Japanese like?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Gomenasai, which is I'm sorry. That's the main thing I say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can understand a little. I can speak a little. I can speak enough to navigate around the country. I can't read at all. But we're in such a unique bubble here, where majority of the time we're only dealing with foreigners. So yeah, the Japanese language is not so important. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the longer I stay here, the more I want to integrate with the people because they're just awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yes. Very nice place. Um, you were saying at the beginning that you were like wanting to do more media sort of stuff.
I did.
Is that meaning like focusing on making more content, or what are
Yeah,
you looking to do with that?
yeah. I had been asked from a few people to do this style of interview in the past, and had kind of been putting it off. But I guess in the last few months, just my life's got to a different stage, and I need support. I need help to live this dream, um, because the money is the last thing here, and there's such an amazing opportunity to start doing more media right where I am, who I am, doing what
Yeah,
I do.
100%. Yeah,
We're lucky enough to have the influx of YouTubers coming in several times a year, and all these guys are so friendly and they want to meet us and know us and hang out with us that I've got to the point now that I need to start sort of utilizing it more. Yeah. Um, one of our customers, his name's Kane. He has a brand called High Chance. He does some YouTube stuff and everything. He has a small shop to sell apparel and stuff, and to see the figures based on the numbers, which are very basic. I think he has under 20,000 followers, but he's generating more than my wage right now. So
yeah,
if if I can start subsidizing things by showing people my world and what we get up to, and yeah, so Import X, you know who Import X are?
yeah, yeah. I've
Um,
seen I've seen a few of those clips popping back up now.
Yeah, so they're popping up, and that they've asked me to be a sort of a contributor from Japan, so to
That'd
let
be
people
cool.
know
Yeah,
what's going on. Yeah, I was a contributor back in the day, and I just need to get back in front of the camera and start filming and promoting this stuff. So on my
yeah,
that's why on my social media at the moment, I'm just trying to push things a bit further. I always get a bit shy and sensitive on the camera, so yeah,
yeah.
I've got a bit of work to do, but I think it's pretty awesome to be able to share what I do. because I'm in such a unique situation.
Yeah, yeah. I 100% can feel your like lack of confidence. I look back um at some of my first videos and very, I don't know, withdrawn sort of deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably wouldn't know, but I do a live stream out of my garage most nights.
Okay. Oh,
And
that's
so I'll like build. I got a Safiro that I'm working on at the moment, an MX5 and a RX7.
okay.
And I got TIG welders and MIG and everything, and I just set up a camera, and then I've got a. I can show you afterwards if you were interested.
Awesome. Yeah.
Set up a TV with like chat on it, and I'll just go live on TikTok and Twitch and stuff, and
Okay.
then people just call in. Yeah, yeah, and so I just that has helped me a lot. Just being able to talk and you know
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like such a big deal.
Yeah.
Whereas when you first start out, even some things now, you're still like, this is hard work. But yeah,
I think
definitely.
like I remember we filmed in Las Vegas for a multi television for a company 25 years ago or whatever. And I was also quite self conscious about the whole thing, really uncomfortable. Now I'd prefer for people to see me for who I am, take it or leave it. And fortunately, there's enough media out there now that yeah, people can just take it or leave it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Whereas at the time, I feel like everything was a bit too scripted, and what people saw was not me. Yeah, maybe those early days of what was the Quetzal thing called? What was it called?
High octane.
Yeah, high octane. Um, Maybe that was a little bit more me, but I meant to mention earlier, I really struggled to watch that because um, we there's just too much ego. We were all just having a gag and everything, which is probably the key to it all anyway. Um, it just looks very cringe. Looks really cringy.
Yeah.
Um, but a
The
lot of people
couple of
love it.
bits where I remember of you on there are just like, they did actually crack me up. Like, I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I still think it's funny. When I watched it the other day, I was like,
yeah, thanks.
laughing away at
Thanks.
myself.
Yeah, we were always just trying. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually no different now. I just, yeah, if I can make someone laugh, it'll make me pretty happy. So if I can say something
Yeah,
sarcastic and get a reaction, I'll probably do that. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I've led such a unique, crazy life that I think it's time to start sharing it with people to see, how it all unfolds. There's a lot of dumb luck, and things just seem to happen. But now, yeah, if I can share that with people, I have a lot of people from my home area in New Zealand that just want to see me, what I do. They all know that I'm this famous car person that is normally in a different country or something, but now they get to see a small insight into what I do, and yeah, it's motivating. In those times, it's strange. I can't really acknowledge that I help inspire others, but yet later tonight I'll be with the boys downstairs watching YouTube, being inspired by someone else, and I can't really
yeah, yeah,
acknowledge that I can do that. But yeah, everyone at Power Vehicles is really sensitive on the camera stuff. Maybe because we have so many YouTubers around, but
yeah,
yeah, if I can start sharing that, that's what I'd like to do. Yeah,
yeah. That would be cool. Because the other thing that I tell myself as well is that, like, the way, um, or especially the way, like, I look at your life and I'm like, that's crazy. But even the stuff that I do, sometimes I have to remind myself that there's lots of people that are into cars, and the majority of them don't see the level of car or get to work on the level of car or
yeah,
anything that we get to all the time.
yeah,
And so it normalizes it for us, and you just think, you don't feel like you've done anything special,
yeah,
but they're looking at it like that is insane compared to where they are, sort of deal. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how I have to sort of remind myself as well.
yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Um, we have we oversee over 400 cars. You know, it's not one or two or five or ten. Like we oversee a shit ton of cars and things that I think that people would be super interested in. Yeah, we have things like right now, brand new GR86 build, which is just they bought a brand new car and they've just stripped it down to guts, and I think we have a full dry carbon body kit for it. The thing I like about Japan is that we're normally dealing with the manufacturers, you know, meaning the creators of all these things. Yeah, whether it's race wheel, you know, whether it's the wheel companies, the
Yeah,
suspension
yeah, yeah.
companies, we're dealing with all the people that create all this stuff. So, you know, the field, whether it's Formula Drift or D1GP, majority of it now is like the cars are less than 5 years old. There's Sylvias, but they're definitely not the biggest part of the field. And to me, that gives me a bit of a hard on because, dude, there's all the A90 Supras, there's the GR86, there's the Yaris, there's the Corolla, there's the Nissan 400R, like all this super cool stuff, and it's all late model. Yeah, so I'm into that. That's what I enjoy being part of. Andy's Lexus, I'm not sure if you've seen that. Lexus RC. That one had a Tomei 3.6 2J, well over 1,000 horse. Oh, dude, just my favorite car in the fleet. He's got 3 or 4 thousand horse chases, and the Lexus is just it's a stunner. Um, Jono as a fabricator is amazing. He will do all the fabrication on the new builds, but he also does things like vacuum forming carbon fiber, you know, dry, somewhat dry carbon, and it's just it's the stuff that you dream of that he can make with a refrigerator pump and some crap on a basic table, and it's yeah, it's world class, and yeah, I'm proud to be part of the team. You know? Work with whether it's these guys or Mike or Reese Millen or yeah, I've got to see and experience some pretty epic stuff for motorsport, I guess.
Mm. It is a hell of a story.
Oh,
All the things you've.
it's the top layer. Yeah. Trying to keep this one PG, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
um. So what was the 100 houses?
Yes,
The is was that going to be a brand?
I
Because
always,
I noticed you.
when I was in New Zealand, I would really push that. 100 Houses is my last name translated to English.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, um, I I want something of my own. Um, and yeah, I've just been chipping away. Right now, I'm trying to share it more to build it more for like brand recognition or something. But I think
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, you know, I think eventually in the back of my mind, I could always see a company being formed under that name that does something similar to Power Vehicles or something. Maybe not the car sales, but everything else, the drifting and the builds and the maintaining of everything. Um, yeah, it keeps going on ice, especially being here. We get so swamped with work and everything that
yeah.
I keep pushing that one aside. While I was in New Zealand, I got some sponsors and I realized, how do I put it? I'm not that guy for marketing, or I
Yeah.
wasn't that guy for marketing, meaning that I couldn't really give a sponsor the return. And this is why I want to be part of like a media thing that I can somewhat dictate, and I don't need to please people. Yeah, even if those people are not necessarily wanting to be pleased, but I would always feel an obligation, and then I'd kind of drop the ball. So I'd prefer to try and do it myself somewhat, um, because it's frustrating. You get a company to support you, and you don't really know how to keep them happy or whatever. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, So, and this has been one of the best things about being in Japan and I've had to pay for everything in the car, and even while I was in New Zealand, I was hitting up Link for an ECU and all this stuff. But here, you just got to buy it because you're a nobody.
Yeah.
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 Um, but I think I'm more content because I don't feel an obligation to be trying to please someone externally or whatever. Yeah. Um, I don't know if I went off topic there, but
No, no, it's all right. Like it's good to hear that you found, somewhere where you're real happy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a strange thing. It's I don't know how to explain it. If yeah, it's a very very difficult place to live. Yeah, it's it's really hard in the winter. You're communicating with less than 10 people that can speak your language, and it's hugely lonely. Um, but the upside of it is that I get to do everything that I enjoy doing, and working on 90s cars seem to keep me pretty happy. Yeah. Um, the perks being part of Power Vehicles is that Andy knows everyone in the industry, so we get to see and hang out with a lot of super cool people. Um, people like Larry Chen come and hang out and stay with Andy, and yeah, we get to do a lot of cool stuff. All the YouTubers have been super friendly. They're pretty good actually, like really, really, really good. Not
Yeah.
pushy, not too intense. Um, yeah, I think it's yeah. I don't know.
Well, we will leave it there. I'll let you get on with your evening. If people want to, catch up with what you get up to in Japan, where shall they follow
Um,
you along on?
on my Instagram and on 100 Houses, I am trying to share everything to 100 Houses. I'm putting it on the Facebook as well. I'm not so much interested in TikTok or anything, maybe later,
Yeah.
but I need to take the leap into doing more on YouTube. Yeah, I I have a friend, one of my best friends. He has a kick channel, and he's now traveling full time. Yeah, and it has shocked me where he went from quite struggling to now he's he's got the momentum now that he doesn't really have to worry. Yeah, which I think is a good thing. Actually, one last thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that I did that Ikaten event on the weekend a couple of weekends ago, which was a team drifting event with all there was five of us. Ikaten was the first competition, so that was before D1GP was formed, and it was an event where the five, you do solo runs for all five of your team, and then you do it together. So
Yeah. I think I remember that on some old option DVDs or something.
that's the one, or Doriten or whatever,
Yeah.
Tengoku. So we got
Yeah.
offered, I don't know, maybe a month ago, someone said, "Oh, Andy's pulled out. Do you want to do you want to come on the team?" I am super rusty compared to these guys, and one of them was Naoto Sunaga, who was kind of organizing it. He's a ninja. He is ridiculous. He's traveled the globe with Team Orange, driving everything. Like he's outrageous. And but what they'd done with video option is that um, they'd told them that this is the best team to represent the circuit, and they got nine other teams to do an eliminator, and then the best team got to go against us. I was super rusty. I kind of, out of the whole team, I had the most gap, but we still managed to win the whole event, which for me was a pretty special thing. Getting the video option stickers on the cars from the video option people was like a thing. I know that my buddies back home would be pretty jealous of that. Yeah, it was great. It was a good weekend. It was awesome. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. All good. Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on and telling your story.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you for having me.